welcome to the 12th episode of the Nature's Cozy podcast. My name is Allie and I am the maker behind Nature's Cozy. If this is your first time joining me today, this is a making video, so sometimes there is a little bit of sewing, a little bit of crochet. It's a mostly knitting podcast. Today is all knitting, and I also do a little bit of books at the end. And for those of you who are not new, welcome back. It is the first day of fall. It is September 22nd, 2020. I'm also coming at you from Champaign, Illinois. It is going to be in the mid-70s today, which I'm not mad about. The weather has been getting like really cool in the evenings and all that, and in the mornings, and yeah, it's been really nice. So I hope everyone enjoys the first day of fall. I will definitely be picking up some Starbucks later, some pumpkin spice something, I'm not sure yet, but yeah. But speaking of coffee, I have my pumpkin mug ready for today, and I very much need coffee today. I stayed up way too late. I downloaded the Lightroom photo editing software, and it was a lot of fun. I only edited a couple like nature photos, just like messing around, but I stayed up way too late. So I might struggle a little bit today, but I think overall I feel way better than what I did last time I podcasted. If you didn't see the last podcast, I was just adjusting to being back at school, and I feel more adjusted, so I feel a lot better. And yeah, I have a lot to kind of show. I've been kind of monogamous / working on 2 projects at a time, just kind of depending on the week, and yeah, having I don't know, I'm feeling really good right now about all my projects. But how's everyone doing out there? I am, like I said, I'm doing pretty good. I think I talked about this last time, I was teeing, helping tee a course. So it's a mammal field technique course, and we're doing most of our field work out in our school's arboretum. And I forgot how much I needed to be outside. So over the summer, you know, I go on walks by my forest reserve that I live by, but in the midsummer it's just super humid, you don't want to be outside, and because I wasn't doing field work, I wasn't really outside that much at all. And now that the weather's changing and do all these things, it's just so nice. I actually went to the forest yesterday, our arboretum. I shouldn't even really call it a forest. There's woodland plots, some prairie patches, but yeah, it was really nice. I went to go take some knitting photographs, but that kind of was a fail. The photos that I wanted to take pictures of, finished objects, the vision, I could not find places for the vision that I had. But I did actually end up taking more nature photography, and I also saw some really awesome animals yesterday. So I know in the beginning of this video, there's a woodchuck. You'll see a woodchuck just chilling, and that was really cool. I don't see them too often. And I saw a wheel bug yesterday. Really gross, but very cool at the same time. They're an assassin bug, so it was consuming a bee, but it was grossly cool. And deer, of course, and just a hawk. I saw a hawk, geese, a lot of, yeah, just, I don't know, just a lot of birds. I mean, geese are everywhere, but yeah, I don't know, it was really good. And it kind of really made me want to go out and do more photography, and actually, so I really want to try to get a lot better at videography. I'm not a videographer. I know I have clips in the beginning of these videos that I'm oh, maybe this will look kind of cool, but it's nothing with how I actually would want it to be. Kind of sucks. But for photography, I don't know. I feel like I bought a DSLR camera earlier this year, which is what I record my podcast on. And one reason was because I wanted to record a podcast on a nice video, or a nice camera, but I also wanted to do more like nature or wildlife photography, and I haven't really done that. But I don't know, I'm feeling a lot more inspired to like actually like go out there and start doing that. I have a lot of mental shifts going on right now about like my making and my like hobbies and all that. I know I'm like 6 minutes in right now, just about, give or take, maybe some editing, maybe it's a little bit less. So I think I'll kind of talk more about that later on. Like maybe before I start talking about books, I'll kind of talk more about my making and my mental shift with that. So let's stop jibber jabbing here and let's start showing what I made. The first object that is finished that I would like to show is my Ambershore shawl. I always feel like it's kind of a tongue twister, and so that's why I always say it like very slowly. I didn't write any notes today, but I'm pretty sure this is by Inese, I think. I always have like the name down below when I talk about a pattern, and I always have like show notes down below. And yeah, I really love this. So this is Plucky Knitter, and this is in their, I believe, Harvest Moon colorway. This is their corduroy colorway, and then this is their cornucopia. And my favorite part about this shawl is the bottom here. This is a twisted ribbing, which is kind of slightly a pain by the end of this, because, you know, even though I do like twisted rib for like my cuffs, this is flat and it's not as fun. But I actually really love the way that this bottom turned out, like with the bobble and then the twisted rib. I think, yeah, I'm really happy with it. It is kind of a weird shape though, I will say. So it's a little bit hard to wear. I feel like if I had a shawl cuff, it would be a lot easier to wear, because it's kind of hard to see, but it's more of like a moth shape. That was like the best way I could think of it, where it's not that's like a straight top, and then like it's, because if it's straight, you know, it's obviously a lot easier to put over yourself. Yeah, so it's like massive, but when I put it around my neck, it's like really hard to tell, but I'll try right now. I did, and at first I was like, oh, maybe it was me, maybe like I just blocked it weird, but I noticed when I went on Ravelry that a lot of people kind of had this shape. There were a couple people that did pin it so that it was straight along the way. So I would say if you decided to make this pattern, it's a really beautiful pattern. When you block it, just try to get it as straight as possible on the top, instead of like it naturally kind of like goes more into like that weird wing moth shape, and I don't know, it's just kind of hard, but let's see. Okay, so as you can see, it's a massive shawl, but when I wear it, it just kind of loses like its largeness. And you kind of also lose some of that detail. I did style it before where I was able to make more of the detail pop, but if you're just kind of like pulling it on really quick, this is kind of what it's gonna look like. Yeah, so that's why I would say if you could, like, I would recommend trying to get the top as straight as possible, so that way you can kind of drape it more. You have like more wings, flaps, and then I don't know, I feel like that would make it pop more. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I really love it. When I do style it, this kind of tends to go a little bit farther. I don't know, it doesn't feel like as stable, which is why I said the shawl cuff would probably be really great. But I don't know, overall I'm really happy with it. It's perfect for fall. I love the colors. And I know last time I talked about this shawl, I was talking about how the green section, this corduroy color, because I ripped it up before, it was kind of like kinky, and it was wasn't like knitting as straight as I would have liked it to knit. And yeah, and it seemed like it was way looser than like what this color was. And I learned a couple things about myself. I'm just kind of trying to show like more of that detail. Yeah, I learned some things about myself when I was doing the this orange section, which is a little bit, I think it's a little bit more burnt orange than like that pumpkin orange. I'm not really sure how it's going to show up. I think the camera kind of saturates it a little bit. I mean, it's definitely a very big pop of color. It's a saturated color, but I think it oversaturates it a little bit. Anyway, sorry. Yeah, so what have I learned about myself? I do knit more straight than so this definitely was knit more straight, like the stitches themselves, than this. So definitely was like that kink that I got in the yarn. But I'm a looser knitter than what I was last year, because this section here was way more tight than this section here. Like the stitches, you know, you could just tell they look smaller. So I'm not really sure why my gauge has changed. Someone mentioned maybe because I knit faster now, that maybe that's why I'm just like looser. Not like, yeah, so I don't know. But overall, I really love it, and it's gonna be super cozy for fall. The next finished object that I wanted to share with everyone were socks. I have another shawl, but I haven't shown that on the podcast yet, so I feel like I gotta go a little bit more in depth with that. But these socks I have shown on the podcast before, and these are my A-frame socks by Morgan of Shop Knitting Nelly. And yeah, so the size I made were the 72. This is my first Christmas present that is officially done, and I am so happy. I did the 72 stitch size, so that's why they look like really big on these sock blockers. So I'm just gonna take one of these socks off so I can kind of show you a little bit more. So this is Woolberry Fiber Co. As I said before, the color shows up a little bit more red than what it actually is in person. I'll try to take accurate photos later on in life. This was one of the knitting fails. Actually, that shawl, the Ambershore shawl, and these were the two knitting photo fails that I had yesterday. It is what it is. I still had a great time walking in nature. But yeah, it's really pretty. So this was inspired by her house. She has like the best house in the whole, well, she has a great house. I love her house, and I wish I have a house like hers in the future. It looks like this amazing cabin in the woods, but it's not, I don't know, it's like not like super tiny cottage. It's, I don't know, it looks like a good size. Looks beautiful. So much like forest around her. So she has like that really big like peak. And I believe that photo is also in her pattern. If you buy her pattern, you can kind of, you know, obviously she took a photo of it. So, or she took a photo of it, shouldn't say obviously. But yeah, so it has these bobbles here, and so this was like the roof, and it reminds me of mountains too, which I really like. And this is Woolberry Fiber Co. in her Friday Night Dinner colorway. It was a Gilmore Girl Club, and yeah, I think the recipient will be very happy with these socks. I really love this mini here. I think it's so pretty, this colorway. And overall, I'm just really happy with it. I don't know what else to kind of say about them. I'm not going to say who they're for because I'm not sure if they watch this podcast or not. I think I have family members that kind of watch on and off from what I've been told. So yeah, I'm not going to say who it's for, but it is it's a Christmas present. So that is project number 2. And the next project flew off my needles, and I will go get that for you right now. So I did a test knit. I did a test knit for Hygge Canyon for Kim, and she created this gorgeous shawl called Autumn in the Foothills. It has a leaf pattern on it, and I think we all know by now if it has some sort of nature theme to it, I am hooked. I am ready. Sign me up. And I am obsessed with this. I am obsessed. Unfortunately, I knew that when I was gonna knit this shawl that I could not keep it for myself. So this is going to be a present for someone. It's not a Christmas present, but it is a soon-to-be birthday. And, oh my goodness. I mean, come on. Really hope this has like some pink in there and stuff and like all these speckles. So I think maybe if I show it on the bottom here. So this is supposed to be released, I believe, like at the end of October, like October maybe 23rd or something like that. You have to knit it. Like, it is stunning. It is a stunning pattern. I knit this in like 11 days, which I think is pretty good. I almost finished it in 10 days, but I bound off on the 11th day because I was just too tired. And you can obviously see, like, this is kind of how I wish the other shawl fit on me. Yeah, and this is when you block it, you know, it's straight on top, so that's why I personally think it looks better, like, fit-wise. Just like fit-wise, but yeah, so the yarns that I used was, I used Stress Knits yarn. So this is Rust Belt on Stacy's favorite base, which is a 80/20. And this, there is so much depth to this tonal that, I mean, I can't, there's just so many different shades of golden brown and a rusty color. You know, Rust Belt is a great name for this color. And it was a huge joy to knit. I only have a couple skeins, so this was actually, well, I have a few different things from Stress Knits, but this was the first time I actually knit with her yarn. I don't have a ton of her yarn, but yeah, this makes me so excited for her advent because that's the advent that I bought. And then the other colorway that I used was Woolberry Fiber Co. Surprise, surprise. And this is in her Berry Merino. This was actually a club colorway. So this is 100% superwash in her Hygge colorway, which I didn't really think about until now. And this is another super, super beautiful color. Like I said, this is a club colorway, so you can't get it anymore, but you know, her fall update is coming very, very soon. It's today's Tuesday, and I think it's on Thursday. It should be on Thursday, I believe, on the 24th. Everyone please buy all the yarn. I don't know if I should. Okay, I have no business buying yarn, so I don't know if I'm gonna buy yarn, but I know they're gonna have like coffee and candles, so I might buy like some coffee and like maybe a candle. So, you know, like I'm still supporting, but I'm not adding to my stash. We'll see what her sock sets look, if she like comes out with like more, I don't know, but yes, I think that she'll probably have some really beautiful combos, so you can totally like knit this shawl. And Stacy too has beautiful, I mean, there's so many dyers out there that have like amazing colorways, but yeah. And I mean, the amazing thing is, like, you have some of these like brown speckles and this Woolberry that really just go so well with this stress knits yarn. And I actually, so I've only knit, I have like a couple of the Woolberry 100% superwash, and I've knit one other thing. I knit a shawl for my mom out of that base, but that was like a year and a half ago. I totally forgot how like soft that base was, because usually if I knit with a superwash yarn, I'm knitting with nylon in it. But if you just like, if you aren't looking for socks and you really just want to make a sweater, I would 100%, 120% recommend getting her 100% superwash merino base, because it's so soft. Like, it was such a joy to work with. I mean, the stress knits was also really nice to work with, but again, I'm used to working with 80/20s. And Bethany doesn't get her yarn from a lot of what the other dyers get their yarn from. Bethany gets her yarns from overseas. At least that's what like she used to. I'm pretty sure that's still a thing, but yeah, I'm obsessed. And I think everyone should knit this. So I do have one more finished object. It is a little finished object, and I made one of those Bluebird of happiness little dudes. I forgot whose pattern this is. Again, it'll be right here. It will be down below, and I really like it. There's definitely adjustments that I need to make when I'm making this. I did follow the pattern to a T, but I would knit it a little bit differently, just because some parts by like the seams need to be tighter, and I just know that there's a particular way I can like knit the pattern where it will be, where the stuffing won't be kind of coming out. I use Explorer Knits in her Smoky Mountain National Park colorway, so just scraps. I didn't measure to see how much I used. I think I'm gonna measure the next one that I make and let you guys know, but someone said that they use no more than 10 grams. So yeah, we'll see. But yeah, so the reason I made this little fella is because I actually want to make all of my aunts and uncles and some of my friends like little Bluebirds of happiness for Christmas. And I think, well, you know, if I just make one a week up until Christmas, I should have enough for everyone. I have a pretty big family. And yeah, I have a lot of, you know, leftover yarn and minis and all that, so I think this will be like a really cute like little gift, because obviously I can't like make everyone a big gift. I forgot how long this took me. I think it took me longer than what I wanted it to, because I was having some issues with the seams and stuff like that again. So this one is, I don't know if I said this one's for me, but yeah, maybe next time I'll have a few more that look a little less coming out at the seams. But I think these make super great gifts for Christmas if you are looking for something kind of small and quick and you want to like make this for someone. And I also know someone who was talking about doing these little Bluebirds for their advent calendar. So they wanted to make like a little like Bluebird of happiness every day with their little advent minis. So, you know, if you got an advent and if you don't know what to do with it, I think that would also be like a really little cute little idea that you can do with your advents. And you get like even like a little cute small Christmas tree and just kind of like put them up like the really mini ones. I think that would be really sweet. But yeah, so that's my little bird. And so I do have kind of 2 projects that I'm working on, and I guess this is kind of where I'm going to talk a little bit more about my making and where I'm at in life with my making. So yeah, I have, as I said earlier, have been a little bit more of a monogamous maker lately, or a 2 project maker. So like with that shawl, with the Ambershore shawl, yeah, actually with the Ambershore shawl and with the Autumn in the Foothills shawl, like I just worked on those when I was working on them, and it was really, really nice. And I kind of forgot how much I actually really like that, because you know, I obviously accomplished more in a shorter period of time, and it made me really just, I don't know. I also forgot, I guess another thing that I should have said about the Autumn Shore, the Autumn in the Foothills shawl. It's been a really long time since I've done lace, and I always struggled with lace when I first started to learn it. And when I first started to learn it, I had no idea what blocking was, so I was like, oh, I suck. But the first 2 shawls that I ever knit were both lace shawls, and that first shawl that I ever knit, it was a plume shawl by Melody Hoffman. I learned a lot. And then the second shawl, which I have showed on this podcast, maybe like my 2nd episode or something, was the Marina shawl by Amba O'Brien, which is like flowers and leaves, and that's probably like one of my favorite shawls. My favorite shawl, this Autumn in the Foothills, is also literally one of my favorite shawls too. But I just felt so good and accomplished like learning that, and I forgot like how good it was to get into the rhythm of knitting lace and working with that kind of pattern. And I think that's another reason why this kind of flew off. I think they flew off my needles. This is just doing that just made me really kind of appreciate doing the one project and really like getting in with it. And I don't know, I like being all consumed in the best way possible, which I know like a lot of people are not monogamous or 2 to 3 project people, and that's totally fine. I mean, knitting is supposed to be something that's like stress-free and supposed to bring us happiness, so you know, you do you, like whatever brings you the happiness, right? But I don't know, like it kind of reminded me, before Instagram, before knitting podcasts, I was just a 1 project person, maybe 2, but not really. I was really a 1 project person. And I knit like a lot of blankets that took me 4 or 5 months to complete. A lot of hats that, you know, just 1 by 1. And it has made me realize, I love this community. I wouldn't be making podcasts if I didn't love this community. But I think it finally made me realize just how much I have been kind of caught up in the, oh, I gotta knit this, and I gotta knit this, and look at this, and this, and this, and this, and this. Which, I mean, there's so many patterns I want to knit, but I obviously have no time, like, to knit all of them. And I just really feel like for myself that I just really, I don't know, I just want to focus more on like the 1 to 2 projects, because it just brought me a lot of joy that I didn't realize I was kind of missing in my knitting. And it also kind of reminded me to slow down. You know, I guess the other thing with my knitting too is that there's so many things that I've been wanting to do for so long. I've been wanting to learn a new language. I get free Rosetta Stone for like at my institution. I have less than a year left of my schooling, and I have only done it for like a half hour. I am stupid. I need to utilize that. I wanted to do more photography, as I said before. It made me going out there, like downloading Lightroom, kind of made me look at it, like different things I can do. And I've been wanting to like watch my videos to kind of learn more about like settings and all of that. And I know how to get like the photos that I kind of have in my mind. Videos, because like I said, as much as I love putting videos at the beginning of these little like making vlog podcast things, they're not like to my personal standard. Like I would love to make way better videos. And who knows, maybe I'll end up try to make more vlogs here or there, or I don't know, like travel stuff. I'm not really sure. I have no idea. And baking too. I have yeast. I have a bread book. I have not jumped on that bandwagon yet. I have yet to make my own bread. Granted, I have been baking more, so I can't like say like I haven't started. I am happy with myself. Like I started making like banana breads and like, I don't know, just like different kinds of like oat bars and pies. I made pies, like 2 different kinds of pies. Oh, I should talk about that later. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it made me kind of realize that I love knitting so much, but there are so many other things that I really want to do. So I kind of have to time manage my hobbies a little bit better, because sometimes I just knit and that's it, I'm done. And as much as I love what I'm creating and I'm like really happy with like the progress, there are some nights I'm like, wow, I should have cleaned, or I should have done something. Like I don't know. Does anybody understand? Like I'm sure there are people that understand, but yeah, I think I have to find like more balance in my hobbies, and even doing wildlife. I need to be a better naturalist. I mean, I know some of my birds, and I know most of my, like at least my Illinois mammals, and obviously like other North American mammals. But I bought a tree book. I want to learn my trees, you know. I want to learn plants. I want to like go out there and like spend more time like learning all that. So long story short, I'm probably just going to be doing the 1 to 2 projects and do more of like slow making, so I can also enjoy other projects, and I don't know, just feel like more balanced with what I'm doing. And also I mean, I love superwash yarn still. I think they're obviously like my still go-to for socks, and I have some fabulous beautiful colors that I have for like set aside for like some sweaters, shawls and stuff. I mean, this again, the Autumn and the Foothills shawl, superwash yarn. These speckles are absolutely beautiful. Like it's great. But I've also kind of noticed that I've been kind of leaning more towards non-superwash, especially for garments. And I really want to work more with non-superwash, and I kind of already have like garments in my head that I would love to make, which I know probably will only make like a few of them within like the next year. But yeah, I don't know, I'm feeling very overwhelmed by how much yarn that I have, how much superwash yarn that I have. So I will probably actually be making a D-stash page very, very soon. If you follow me on Instagram, I will definitely post it there. I plan on taking pictures throughout the week, and then maybe actually making a page on like over the weekend. I already like pulled out yarn that I'm gonna de-stash. I have around like 20-ish skeins or so. Yeah, so yeah. So that's kind of a long-winded making story or like process of where I'm at, but so the 2 projects that I'm kind of working on right now are my Ronan cardigan and my Hibernation house socks by Lindsey Fowler of Lost and Found. So like, there are so many socks I want to cast on right now, but at the same time I'm loving my Ronan cardigan that I just don't like. I'd rather be knitting on that than casting on like a sock and then putting it off to the side. I guess that's kind of like where I'm kind of going with that. But I also have a lot of like gift making that I want to do. All these yarns are like for gifts for Christmas now. I think I'm Christmas and like a couple other things that aren't Christmas. But before I cast on one of these, because I'm also just really wanting to get things off my needles too, I showed this, I think I showed this on the last podcast, the fabulous Hibernation house socks by Lindsey. And I haven't, I mean, I was like, you know what, because I'm also doing another test knit for her. A very simple, low-key test knit. But I was like, before I cast those on, I really want to knit this other sock. So I haven't, I mean, I literally just started cast on the other one the other day. I have like barely started. But my goal is to get this sock done by September, the end of September. So I have, if I count today, nine days that I can work on this. So I mean, I feel pretty confident. I kind of already broke down like how many inches I need to knit every day on the cuff, and then, you know, all of that. So I really want to get this done by the end of September. And then she's actually releasing with her Hibernation house socks. She also made another pattern that is just the waffle pattern, and not like the mohair cuff. And I think those are called Earthen Home socks. Yeah, so it's gonna be like a companion pattern, and I'm actually gonna knit that pattern with this yarn, and this is gonna be from my uncle. So this is Explorer Knits in her Banff National Park. So you know, I'm trying to like combine these like beautiful test knitting patterns, but also trying to like accomplish my goals of creating gift knits. So that's kind of what's gonna be next on my needles once I finish my Hibernation house socks. But the other thing that is in my Ronan cardigan, oh, you know what, I should really quickly, this fabulous bag is from Morgan from Shop Knitting Nelly. I already talked about her socks, but yeah, this is like one of my fall bags that I use. She, you know, quilts them, woodland creatures, perfect. So that's that bag. And then the other bag that I have with me is my town bag, which is the Fringe Supply Co. Unfortunately, as probably all of us know, they are no longer out of business. I would definitely check with yarn shops though, because you never know if they have some Fringe supply left in stock. But in this bag is my Ronan cardigan, and honestly with fall I just want to wear this cardigan now. I have two garments for myself, and one's a summer garment and the other one is a very winter garment. And as much as I love my no frills, it's like that blue one, I don't wear blue too often, and so I really want to like have a few more garments that are for me. And the great thing about cardigans, I really love cardigans. I love layering them. I love yeah, I think they're so versatile. And I mean, this is like the perfect fall color, and I think it's, in the past it seems that it's showing up fairly accurately. I think it's a little bit slightly blown out, but for the most part. So this is Shelter Brooklyn Tweed, and this is in their wool socks colorway. That looks really accurate to me. It's like kind of a brick color. There's reds, browns, some like oranges and yellows in there, thrown out here and there. There's hay. There's a good chunk of hay, not like a lot of hay, but I don't know. It makes me kind of happy to like, oh, like the sheep. And I know like last time I was like, I'm not gonna work on this until for a while, but no, I'm like too obsessed. Like I have to work on this because I just love this so much, and I love working with the Brooklyn Tweed, with the Shelter. So it just feels so good in my hands, and it's like crunchy, and it reminds me of leaves in the fall time. Yeah, so this is the last time that I showed it. I have this little sunflower progress keeper from Lock and Lou, and that's how much I've done so far. Yeah, and so what I've actually done is, in the last episode I showed how my gauge changed, so I recasted it on, and I'm literally just pulling from the old one. So it's a little bit more kinky here. like the stitches and stuff, but I don't care. For like this one, I just don't care because of just like the way the yarn is anyways. And I know like it'll black out, and you know, I don't know. It just, I just love, this is bringing me so much joy to work on, and I don't even want to knit any gift knits or anything else, but I know I have to. But yeah, it's just bringing me a lot of joy and a lot of happiness, and I think that's, again, for me, working on the 1 to 2 projects has really kind of amplified my love for like the patterns that I'm actually working with, because if I'm only concentrating on 1 to 2, like I really just want to make sure that the pattern that I'm going to spend my time working with is going to be like great, and then I'm not going to want to like toss it off to the side. So yeah. Yeah, I don't, and the other like thing that makes me feel so good is that I have 3 projects, or technically I have 4 because I have my granny stripe blanket, but not including my granny stripe, I only have 3 projects on my needles. I have this, I have my socks, and I have my Winter Honey Shawl by Andrea Mowry. And my goal is to get, obviously this I want to get done maybe by the end of October, but definitely by Thanksgiving. And I really want to get my Winter Honey Shawl done by the end of the year. And just, I really want to start the new year with like nothing on my needles and just do like a fresh start. Yeah, so that's all the making that I've made. I do have some stash acquisition, and then I'll also talk about books. Sorry again if I'm a little bit rambly today. It's just, I don't know, like I just feel, I don't know, the seasons are changing, and so is my mentality. So yeah, so let me go grab my new stash acquisitions. Before I show yarn, I actually have a new bag. I had no business buying a new bag, and I really wanted more than just one. But I told myself to only get one, and that is from the Plucky Owl Co. She came out with her fall line, and it's a little acorn. It's beautiful. These colors, it's all gorgeous. She also had one that said like pumpkins, apples, and hayrides, and I was really conflicted between the two. But it was kind of funny because when I was shopping, I had both of these in my cart, and I was like going back and forth, and then at some point the other one sold out. I was like, okay, like I'll just buy this one, and then I bought it, and then afterwards she was doing a pre-order for the other one. I was like, I cannot. So yeah, I love her bags. I've talked about them in the past. They're really great quality. Yeah, I don't know, they're great. They're a really good size. I kept sweaters in these kind of bags before. No, I haven't. That's a lie. I've kept my Ambershore shawl. When I was working on this, I had another bag I think I showed last week, so it definitely fits. But you can totally fit like a sweater, because that's 3 skeins, and if you're working with 4 skeins, even, like it will totally fit. So that's like non-yarn. And then for the yarns that I got, which you probably have all seen these already, but I didn't have them last time I podcasted. The first yarn that I am showing is Woolberry Fiber Co. You may have seen these already because I'm a little bit behind in showing my clubs. I think the next installment is already at my parents' house, but yeah, this was the last batch for the 2 towers. I only have, and super pretty. This is Palantir right here, and you just have like kind of like browns in there as well. It's yeah, I think that's a better coloration depiction. And then this one's Ring Rates. This is really pretty, like smoky gray. This is on her berry sock, which is a BFL nylon, and I am very excited to kind of get all of them and make that pattern that I can't think of in my head, the Pinguono. There we go, by Stephen West. again, something that's totally out of my comfort zone, but I have a feeling it's gonna be beautiful. And then the next one that I have to show is Explore Knits. If you follow Allie, you will definitely have seen this one already. This is her Gates of the Arctic National Park. I'll flip it over in case you want to like pause and kind of read that, because she always has like quotes in the back. Yeah. And you can see her vision of the picture, and it's really, really pretty. There we go. I feel like online it was kind of showing more gray, but it is just not. It is a very beautiful fall color with all these like green yellows and greens and browns and grays, and yeah, it's really, really nice. It's really, really pretty. I know she's going to be doing a update pre-orders for this yarn and the Yellowstone yarn. I cannot wait. I love, like, Yellowstone National Park is phenomenal. It is beautiful. Grand Teton is right next to it, which is one of my, they're both like, those are my two top national parks. I love all the national parks I've been to so far. I plan on going to all the national parks, but I can't. It's just like a beautiful whole new world, and I hope everyone has a chance to go. It's massive. You don't, I knew it was like big obviously, but I didn't like, I don't know, it didn't really click. I went like 5 years ago with my boyfriend, just how big it is. I think it takes maybe like 4 to 5 hours to drive from one point south to one point north, like I think around there. Yeah, it's like big. But yeah, so she's doing a pre-order for that very soon, that one in Yellowstone. So if you're interested, I would definitely check it out and like follow her to keep updated. That's really all I have for making and yarn. I know I was kind of rambly today, but hopefully it was rambly in the best way. And if you are not interested in books, thank you so much for joining me. Have a fabulous first fall day. This podcast will hopefully be up, should be up tomorrow, so I hope you had a fabulous fall day, and if you liked my video, please give it a like so other people can find it, or if you want to see more of me, you can always subscribe. And yeah, thank you so much. And for those of you who are interested in the books, I have some to talk about. I will start out with the one that I was reading last time, Midnight Sun, which I actually finished this weekend. I finished it on Saturday, so a lot of feelings towards this book. So for anyone who is not aware, this is Midnight Sun by Stephanie Meyer. She is the author of the Twilight series, and this is the companion book. So this is the 5th book in the series, and this is the first book, Twilight, but told from the perspective of Edward Cullen, who is the vampire in the novel that our main character Bella falls in love with. I think it could have been shorter. I really enjoyed learning about Edward's perspective. I think it put a lot of things in context. But I think I said this last time, you know, after a time I just don't care about how self-loathing you are, and you know, like, she definitely could have just cut it down a bit. Edward's very emotional. I don't know what else, like, I just think, I think in the beginning you can kind of like really get that self, like, you know, it made sense kind of like learning more about like that self-loathing and like how much, you know, he hates kind of being a vampire. And I really loved learning more about the Cullen clan in general, and hearing more of their perspectives and their stories and all of that. But I feel like at some point she could have just like cut cut the self-loathing. So, but if you are a fan of Twilight and you were, I mean, I definitely feel like you have to read this book if you're a fan of Twilight. If you're not a fan of Twilight, don't read it. I ended up giving this 4 out of 5 stars. I kind of am leaning more to just because of like the last couple hundred pages. I was like, maybe I should give it 3.5 out of 5 stars, but no, I mean, I still kept it out of 4. Because again, I did enjoy it. It just, after page like 450, it was just really long. So that was the first, well, that was technically the second book that I finished this month. The first book, oh my goodness, the first book that I finished was Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno Garcia. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. I cannot say more amazing and wonderful things about it. I will say, I did not look up reviews when I was reading this book. I know it was a book that has been circulating in the like book community. It was very hyped up. It was my book of the month choice back in July, and this is what we read for our book club, for the book club that I'm a part of. And most of us, well, there's only 5 of us. 2 of us didn't finish, but it seemed that they were really enjoying it. So the 3 of us that did finish had mixed reviews. So my other friend, she loved it, and then my cousin did not. She gave it a very low rating. I've never read any of her other books. I heard she's a really great author. I really want to read her other books now. I don't like scary things. I like Halloween. Like, I love going to haunted houses and doing like creepy things, but I hate watching horror movies. I do not like watching paranormal stuff, although I don't mind going to like haunted places. I'm very bizarre. And so I wasn't really sure how I was gonna feel about this book, but I didn't really think it was scary. It was definitely kind of like, there were definitely some like gross scenes. There was one like cemetery scene that I thought was a little scary, but besides that, to me this felt more of like a paranormal thriller than, oh my god, I can't sleep at night. Yeah, so the story follows Noemi, and it takes place in Mexico, and she goes to her cousin. Well, I can't think of her cousin's name at the time. I think her name is like Catalina. She like married this like English dude, and they have this house with his other family members called High Place, and she like wrote this like weird letter like, I'm seeing things, and it was very unnerving. So Noemi's dad was like, go visit your cousin, see what's up, and she does, and then things start to get weird. The house is kind of doing weird things. She's having like these weird dreams, and I don't know, I really liked it. I will say, I was like reading it, the first 150 pages, like I was reading it and I liked it, but the second half of the book, I think there's like 301 pages in here. The second half was like, I could not put it down. Like I finished it in a few hours because I just wanted to like figure out what happened. Yeah, I went online after I finished, and it seemed like a lot of people had mixed reviews about this. You know, they touch on like eugenics a bit, and like kind of like some colonialism, and then there were some people who were like, oh, she like touches it, but touches like, she talks about these topics, but then she doesn't like really go into it. And honestly, like I think what she said was enough. I know my cousin really didn't like how she would like mention how the house kind of reminded her of like Wuthering Heights, and my cousin was like, oh, well, you should show, don't tell. I personally thought it was fine because she was kind of talking about how her cousin really loved those stories, and to me it was like, making more connections about the cousin, her like trying to figure out like what drew her cousin to that place, more so than the whole showing not telling about Wuthering Heights. So, you know, it's I would still recommend it. I think it's still a really good book. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I do not like giving books 5 out of 5 stars. I really just, I couldn't really find much to criticize it about. I will say that she gives you like a bunch of Easter eggs, so I was like texting some of my friends. I was like, okay, so this is what I think is gonna happen, and blah blah blah, and they're like, you're warm. Like those definitely all play a part, but I did not guess like the main plot line, but there are all these like connections to that plot line that I was able to kind of like put together. But still, I want to know. That's why to me it felt more like a thriller, because it's like I want to find out like what happens, what's the mystery. I will say though, the one thing I hated about this book was the last paragraph. I feel like she just bullshitted that. Sorry, excuse my language, because I try not to swear on here. Yeah, I think like she had this great book, and then the last paragraph was just like too happy. Like, I'm not mad of what like happened, but the way she wrote it was like super like lovey, like a happy ending type of. I'm like, no, this doesn't match the book. It feels like when you're writing an essay and you're like, I have no idea how to like close this essay in this paragraph, so I'm just gonna like kind of like make stuff up, and you know, like, here you go. Like when you're writing a paper, that's kind of how this felt, that last paragraph. But that was like really the only thing that I hated. I was like, that was just not a good last paragraph. But besides that, I really loved it, and I highly recommend it. And then the other book that I'm currently reading, which I'm not too far in, and I accidentally bent it, is The Handmaid's Tale. So I actually really want to try to finish this by the end of September too. So my Hibernation House Socks and The Handmaid's Tale are my 2 priorities for the remainder of the month. I mean, it's only like, I think about 300 pages, so a little over 300, I think, yeah. Nope. A little under 300 pages. I have been wanting to watch this TV series for a couple years now. Since like, yeah, for a couple years. And I really wanted to read the book before I dived into the series. I know the premise of it. I know some things that kind of happen. But I finally just got around to reading it, or starting to read it. Again, not too far. I'm on page 37. For those of you who don't know, this is kind of like a dystopian like world. I can't, like, I know like the world kind of setup, just because I know like the premise of the story. I don't really know how to explain it too well. I think I need to like just read more to kind of hear more of the history of how it got there. So I'm not really going to talk about this book too much, but I just kind of wanted to mention that I'm reading it. So next time I will have a better synopsis and review on this book, and that's really about it. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna try to enjoy the day. I do a little bit of work today, but yeah, so thank you so much for hanging out with me. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. Thanks. I hope you enjoyed my book recommendations. If you read Mexican Gothic, I would love to know what you thought, because again, I think there's such a divide about if people liked it or didn't like it. So I'm curious to know. I'm curious. So if you read the book, please let me know. And I'll talk to you guys later. Have a fabulous day, week, and I will see you later.